As I've said in previous videos, I don't really have a lot to talk about anymore. Everything is proceeding pretty much according to what I expected, except for, I guess, location. Um, and I suppose I can fairly say I didn't expect this to happen, uh, but I did say that it's the solution, and I posted about that, and I'll try to maybe link to it or whatever. I don't know. I'm getting kind of lazy with processing my content because who's consuming it, right? Other stuff to do, I guess. So what I'm talking about is I posted a long time ago solutions for basically humanity's problems, and they stemmed, in my opinion, at the time, naively, I guess, innocently, from lack of resources. And of course, I was right, but I didn't understand the source of the lack of resources. I now understand it's a parasitic banking system that's basically funneling off 99% of what we make and storing it or destroying it. We can talk about the entropy of cash. Does making a bomb and blowing it up, it seems like a pretty efficient way to convert, useful work into heat, which is, entropy. Anyway, before I understood that that was the case, I really thought that it was consumption and natural and legitimate uses that led to us fighting constantly, basically having the strife and everything. So my solution, getting to the point, was, as I said in the article, and I'll post a link to it, is nuclear power, open source software to run robots. And China is doing all three. Uh, Now, obviously, they're not doing open source, but they are completely disregarding IPL for the purposes of their own, advancement, and they're harvesting the rest of the globe's IP as well because they just don't care. They don't care about your patents, and that's awesome. You know, because the whole advantage of open source is having a bunch of people looking at the same problem, so you don't get duplication of effort. And when you have a government with over 1 billion people, and it's an actual government, it's not a totally fake reality TV show government like ours, where the bank is actually in charge. No, the Chinese government is in charge. The banks don't own China. And we can talk about why it is that the West hates the countries that they do. You'll find that every country that we hate tends to not have a central bank that's governed by the same people that governs ours. So, there's that. So, China totally checks the open source box. And I saw a video or a post where there's at least one Chinese company that's totally ready to start mass producing humanoid robots, and the target is $16,000 a pop. That's the Model T. That's gonna where everybody's gonna have a humanoid robot. I mean, it's totally gonna be Asimov. It'll be different. The software is gonna be different, but we're gonna get our humanoid robots. Labor's gonna go away, and that's, I think, a big explanation for why the true owners of America have set policy the way they have over these past 10 years. Somebody alerted them to it. May even be the reason Epstein's dead. I kind of feel like there's this, underground dispute that happened among the banking families that own everything. And I want to talk. Oh, anyway. But then the third thing is reactors, and China is running full steam into nuclear. Last I saw, 31 additional $billion for new nuclear reactors, and they're about to open up their first thorium reactor. And you don't even really need thorium yet, but they're just going to do it, and awesome. I ran a thorium community on Google Plus with 3,000 plus people. I am all in favor of that. It's what got me pro nuclear. I learned about thorium, and I was like, oh, this is so much better than nuclear. And writing my arguments for why thorium is so much better than nuclear, I discovered that nuclear was actually the best power source, existing. So anyway, yeah, deaths per watt, it's the best power source. So yeah, there's that. And shit, I went off on a bit of a tangent. I was avoiding going off on a tangent there, so I think I'm gonna start over to try and, because I can't review it. I'm not on OBS. I'm on a phone, so I can't go back and see what I said without stopping the video, and then I don't have a way to stitch it together, because I'm on a phone. So yeah. Oh, I wanted to talk about the banking thing. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that banks run Earth, and I don't think it's conspiratorial even to say that there's like basically okay, Earth is penetrated by religions. That's just a fact. You have the Abrahamic faith, and then you have Hinduism and Buddhism, and I just named off like 90% of humanity. When you check those boxes, and everybody else, every other group is a majority religious believer. Like of those 10%, you break them down by groups of any kind. Uh, until you start getting down to family level, everybody, the majority of every group is a religious believer of some kind. So it's not even controversial to say that Earth is a religious planet. So when I then say the people who run Earth are religious, that shouldn't be controversial. Okay. I think we can agree that secrecy conveys power, and so it stands to reason that the most powerful group is going to be using secrecy. So again, a covert, religious, powerful group is not controversial in my opinion. It just follows from basic logic. We can talk about what their religion is. I would argue that since it's secret, it's likely different than what is publicly available. So, there's that. Again, not controversial, just following from the logic. And I think that the march of the baton passing of power from history is pretty clearly religious, governmental, financial. You could argue that money is the dominant religion of Earth because it is an abstraction that we all believe in and we agree on it and we take action based on it. Again, that doesn't seem terribly controversial to me, but it's a conspiracy theory in really heavy quotes there. Seems more like law to me, but whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to comment on how outside the rule of the global banking cartel, I would label it as, see my other post on how bad income inequality really is. Basically, everybody that makes under $150,000 a year is splitting 3% of global output. That's insane. We're all standing on a postage stamp while they have a mansion. It's nuts. The political situation can be boiled down to that same bank is trying to basically destroy / command the world. They're doing a fire sale, a controlled burn. And the only way to stop it is to do a general strike, and obviously no one in the English-speaking world will do that. We only do what our bosses allow us to do, all the protests and everything, and petitions, and TikTok videos. It's all with some boss's permission. You fall into two camps as an American. You're either obedient or disobedient, and the obedient are in the vast majority, and I'm disobedient, and the price I pay for that is basically a very Spartan, humiliating kind of existence. Like, I have to be carried by a very few number of people that love me, and that's because I refuse. Initially, I'm also unable. However, at this point, I think even if I was able, I would refuse. Like, if I was more able, I'd be more visibly I'd be more about being visible in my disobedience and make more phone calls and do traveling more and be sitting somewhere with a sign, that kind of stuff. But the same thing that prevented me from working, prevents me from activism of any sort, really. So there's that. But yeah, it's pretty clear to me that nobody in America is going to stand up. Nobody will quit their job. They will not risk their paycheck for any reason. And, many people can make a good argument for that, typically related around dependence. It's a hostage situation. I have family to take care of, so I have to do as I'm told for all of my waking hours by somebody that's serving a billionaire. And, that's just the situation. That's just going to continue. So I guess that's why I don't have a lot to say these days, because I'm just basically repeating myself, and it feels silly. Mostly this is a technical test. The only real substantive thing in this video is I don't think I've made an explicit logical argument for the hidden banking cartel that runs Earth. Again, like I said, it's not controversial. It just follows from the facts. And I guess I do want to also talk about something I saw. I saw a guy making a really good heavy math-based argument for gene driving screwworms out of existence. And I've written in several places about how we need to be gene driving out the pathogens. And I was thinking mosquitoes, ticks, bed bugs, that kind of thing. But this guy went screwworms. And I would have included them on the list, obviously. I mean, it's a short list of most top 10 hideous organisms that need to be annihilated, right? And it would have been on there, but I've never explicitly mentioned them, and I obviously should have, because it's really right up my alley, talking about how, I mean, this thing basically is just it's nature's perfect pain factory. It just produces, like, mosquitoes produce more death than anything, certainly among humans, maybe among animals, period. Screwworms produce more pain. So, yeah, that really should have been on my radar. My bad, mea culpa. But at the same time, it's really nice to see somebody talk about that. And I saw a video, of a short clip, 3 minutes, 150 plus thousand views. Somebody making the argument we need to gene drive screwworms out of existence, and that was really good to see, because we don't really have people making that argument. I'm glad to see somebody do it. I mean, other than me, and nobody listens to me, so I have zero platform. But it's nice to see that in a larger context. I mean, 150,000 isn't a lot, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but it's probably more than I've ever reached. So cool. All my stuff still stands. I don't see any reason to be. I mean, if anybody can find hardcore reasons, or I'm open to being corrected here. I really am. So if you can find a problem, post a solution. But I'm not playing bullshit games. I want to know. Bring the receipts, basically. And if your receipt says something like CBS and it's like made from banker money, it's probably bullshit, and I don't want to hear it. But if you can, like, start from some first principles we agree with, okay, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching.